Good day, everyone. This is Teacher Cherry. In this video, we will learn about inverse variation. We will illustrate situations that involve inverse variation. We will translate into variation statement a relationship involving inverse variation between two quantities given by table of values, a mathematical equation, a graph, and vice versa. And we will solve problems involving inverse variation. Ano ba ang inverse variation? Inverse variation occurs when one quantity is equal to a constant times the inverse of the other quantity. This can be expressed into mathematical statement or equation as y equals k divided by x or y equals k over x. And x times y equals k, where k is the constant of variation or constant of proportionality and x is a non-zero real numbers. This is the equation of inverse variation. Y is the first quantity equals constant, which is k, divided by x, or times the inverse of the other quantity times 1 over x. So, para kunin yung k, imumultiply natin yung dalawang quantity or dalawang variables which are x and y. So, x times y equals k. Inverse variation, the equation is y equals k over x. This equation, the statements are y varies inversely as x or y is inversely proportional to x. So, anong meaning ng mga statement na to? This mean that for two quantities, x and y, an increase in x causes a decrease in y. Kapag nag-increase yung value ng x, magdi-decrease naman yung value ng y. Similarly, a decrease in x causes an increase in y. Kapag nag-decrease yung value ng x, yung value ng y naman ay mag-i-increase. So, yun yung pinapakita ng inverse variation. Also, we have another equation for inverse variation. So, we have y equals k over x raised to the n power. This equation means that y varies inversely as the nth power of x if there exists a non-zero real numbers k. So, yung equation na to ay inverse variation din ang kanyang ipinapakita. Let us have illustration of inverse variation in real life. If the number of persons P involved to do a certain work is inversely proportional to the time T, then the relationship can be translated into a mathematical statement as P, which is the number of persons, equals k, which is the constant, divided by t, which is the time. This means that as the number of men increases to do the work, the number of days to finish the work decreases. Habang nag-i-increase yung taong magtatrabaho, magdi-decrease naman yung bilang ng araw na matatapos yung trabaho. Let us have activity. Let's translate the statements into equations. Number 1, x is inversely proportional to y. Translate this statement into equation. This is x equals k divided by y. So, yung first variable, x, yun yung nasa kabilang side na naka-isolate. Inversely proportional to y, so yung y yun ating denominator. Number 2, the force F needed to break a board varies inversely with the length L of the board. This is F equals K over L. So, F stands for force, varies inversely with the length L. L is the second variable. Number 3, the time T required to empty a tank varies inversely as the rate R of pumping. This statement is translated as T equals K over R. Time varies inversely as the rate. So, tandaan, yung first variable na binanggit nasa kabilang side, equal siya sa constant divided by yung variable na binanggit na pangalawa. Let us have another activity. Let's determine if the tables and graphs express an inverse variation between the variables. If they do, find the constant of variation and an equation that defines the relation. Okay, so we have here table of values. Is this expresses inverse variation? So, paano natin malalaman na ito ay nagpapakita ng inverse variation? Una, determine natin yung K niya. So, para makuha yung K, imumultiply natin yung variables na X at Y. Okay, so, for the first one, ang product ng 1 at 24 is 24. For the next, product ng 2 and 12 is 24. And for the third one, 3 times 8 is 24. And for the last, 4 times 6 is 24. Kapag ang nakuha nating K or product ng variables ay equal or the same, ang table ay nagpapakita ng inverse variation. So, ang given na table expresses an inverse variation. So, paano natin makukuha yung constant? Yung constant of variation, yun yung product ng mga variables natin. So, that is equal to 24. And then, let's get the equation. So, ang equation natin, y varies inversely as x. Substitute lang natin yung nakuha nating k, which is 24 dito sa ating equation. Y equals k over x. So, we have y equals 24 over x. That is our equation. Let's have another example. Okay, so another table of values. Is this expresses an inverse variation? Okay, so sabi natin kanina, as x increases, y decreases. Pero check pa natin yung k niya. Okay, so to find the value of k, multiply natin yung variables x and y. So 2 times 40 equals 80. Next, 4 times 30 is equal to 120. 6 times 20 is equal to 120. And 8 times 10 equals 80. So, as you can see, yung nakuha nating product ng x and y ay hindi magkakaparehas or they are different. This means that this table of values is not an inverse variation. Tandaan, kapag hindi equal yung product ng ating variables, this does not express inverse variation. Okay, let's have another example. Okay, so the given is a graph. Okay, paano natin madedetermine kung ang given na graph ay inverse variation? Tulad ng table, kukunin natin yung value ng k, which is the product ng x and y, or nung dalawang variables. Okay, so let's get the k for this point. Okay, so 6 times 2. Okay, another, this point is 4 times 3. How about this point? This is 3 times 4. And this point is 2.4 times 5. This point is 2 times 6. And this point is 1.5 times 8. Kunin natin yung product ng bawat isa. Okay, so 6 times 2 is 12. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 4 is 12. 2.4 times 5 is 12. 2 times 6 is 12. And 1.5 times 8 is equal to 12. Okay, so sa lahat sila, ang product ay 12. Which means this graph expresses an inverse variation. Dahil ang constant ay pare-parehas na 12. Okay, ano ngayon ang kanyang equation? So, since y varies inversely as x, isasubstitute natin yung value ng k, which is 12, dito sa ating equation. We now have y equals 12 divided by x. This is now our equation. Okay, another na pag-identify kung ang graph ay nagpapakita ng inverse variation ay tignan mismo yung graph. Okay, kung ang given na graph ay hyperbola or smooth curve, so it means that the given graph is an inverse variation. Ang hyperbola ay hindi nag-i-intersect sa origin or 0, 0. It will not also intersect to the x-axis or to the y-axis. So, kapag ang given na graph is hyperbola, the given graph is an inverse variation. Is that clear? Okay, let's have another example. So, is this expresses an inverse variation? Okay, as you can see, our graph is a line. So, this is not an inverse variation. Sabi natin kanina, ang graph ng inverse variation is a hyperbola. So, since this is not a hyperbola, so this is not an inverse variation. Let's solve. If y varies inversely as x and y equals 3, when x equals 2, find the constant of variation in the equation. So, paano natin makukuha yung constant of variation in the equation? So, first, i-translate natin yung statement na y varies inversely as x. This is equal to y equals k divided by x. After that, isubstitute natin yung value ng y, which is 3, and x, which is 2. We have, ang value ng y ay 3, equals k over, or divided by, ang value ng x is 2. After that, we cross-multiply. Okay, we have 3 times 2, and then equals k. We multiply 3 and 2, the product is 6. So, that is 6 equals k, or k equals 6. So, that is the constant of variation. Kunin naman natin yung equation. So, we will substitute to the equation y equals k over x yung value ng k, which is 6. We have now y equals 6 over x. So, that is our equation. Or, pwede ring x times y equals 6. So, paano nakuha yung x times y? Pinag-cross multiply natin yung y and x. So, y and x is equal to x times y equals 6. So, pwedeng y equals 6 over x or x times y equals 6. Okay, let's have another way of solving this problem. Okay, y varies inversely as x is equal to y equals k over x. Kunin natin yung k, which is the constant. Multiply natin yung dalawang variables na x and y. So, we have k equals x times y. Then, substitute y, which is 3, and x equals 2. So, we have 2 times 3. Ang value ng x is 2, ang value ng y is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So, that is our constant of variation. And then, pwede na natin kunin yung equation. Okay, so, substitute 6 dito sa k natin. So, we have y equals 6 over x or x times y equals 6. So, ito na yung gagamitin natin. X times y equals k is 6. Let us have another problem. Suppose A varies inversely with B. When B equals 4 and A equals 1/2, find A when B equals 18. Sa given problem, we are going to find A. So, bago yon, kunin muna natin yung value ng K or constant. To find the value of K, translate natin, A varies inversely with B. So, this is A equals K divided by B. And then, substitute natin yung given na values ng A and B. So, yung una. Okay, so ang A natin is 1/2. So, we have 1/2 equals K divided by, ang B natin is 4. And then, solve for K. Let's do the cross multiplication. 1 times 4. So, we have 1 times 4 equals 2 times K, which is 2 times K. Then, multiply 1 and 4, which is equal to 4, equals 2K. Then, dapat ang maiwan lang ay K, so we will divide both sides by 2. Then, simplify. 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. So, this is our K or K equals 2. After natin kunin yung K, substitute natin sa original equation, A equals K over B. So, it will now be A equals 2 over B. And then, substitute natin yung given na value ng B, which is 18. To find A, so we have A equals 2 over 18. Yun yung value ng B. Simplify, 2 over 18, reduced to lowest term is 1 over 9. So that is the value of A. Let's solve using the second way. Okay, so A varies inversely as B. And then, to find K, so multiply natin yung A at B. Then, substitute. Ang A natin is 1/2, ang B is 4. So, 1/2 times 4. So, 1/2 times 4 is 4 over 2 or 2. And then, substitute the value of K, which is 2. So, we have A equals 2 over B. And then, substitute yung given na value ng B. So, we have now A equals 2 over 18. and reduce to lowest term, that is 1 over 9. So, katulad din nung nakuha nating sagot kanina. Let's have another way in solving the problem. Okay, so translate A varies inversely with B. That is A equals K over B. And then, para makuha yung K, we multiply A and B. So, we have A times B. Since dalawa yung sets ng given na values ng A and B, makakabuo tayo ng proportion na A sub 1 times B sub 1 equals A sub 2 times B sub 2. Ito yung gagamitin natin na equation. And then, substitute natin yung given na values. Ang first set is A equals 1 half and B equals 4. So, we have A sub 1 is equal to 1 half times B sub 1 is equal to 4. Equals. Ang A sub 2, yun yung missing term natin. So, A sub 2 pa rin siya. Ang given na 18, that is our B sub 2. And then, let's solve. 1 half times 4 is equal to 2 equals. We multiply 18 and A sub 2. Dapat ang maiwan dito ay A sub 2. We will divide both sides by 18. So, we have 2 over 18 equals 18 A sub 2 divided by 18. 2 divided by 18 is equal to 1 over 9 equals A sub 2. Or we have A sub 2 equals 1 over 9. So, parehas nung nakuha nating answer kanina. Let us have another problem. Let's solve. The number of hours T required to finish a certain job varies inversely as the number of persons N on the job. If 16 persons require 18 hours to finish the job, how long would it take 64 persons to finish the job? To answer this problem, ta-translate natin yung T varies inversely as N. So that is T equals K over N. Then substitute natin yung given na values. 16 persons require 18 hours. So ang time natin is 18. Ang number of persons natin is 16. Then we cross multiply. 18 times 16 equals K. 18 times 16 is equal to 288 equals K, or K equals 288. After that, substitute natin yung 288 dun sa equation. We now have T equals 288 over N. Okay, so isasubstitute natin yung 64 persons. We have T equals 288 divided by 64. So, 288 divided by 64 is 4.5. Therefore, the time to be taken by 64 workers to complete the job is 4.5 hours or 4 hours and 30 minutes. Let's solve the given problem using the other solution or way. So, we know that T varies inversely as N is equal to T equals K over N. And to find K, we multiply N and T. And then, since we have two sets of values, gagamit tayo ng proportion na N sub 1 times T sub 1 equals N sub 2 times T sub 2. Substitute lang natin yung mga given na values. Ang N sub 1 natin is 16 persons. 16. Ang time natin or T sub 1 is 18. Equals. Ang N sub 2 natin is yung second na given, 64 persons. And yung T sub 2, yun yung ating missing term o yun yung hinahanap sa problem. Then, solve. 16 times 18 is 288. Multiply 64 times t sub 2. Divide natin both sides by 64 para matira yung t sub 2. Okay, so we have 288 divided by 64 is 4.5. Ang may iwan na lang dito is t sub 2. Or t sub 2 equals 4.5. Therefore, the time to be taken by 64 workers to complete the job is 4.5 hours or 4 hours and 30 minutes. Parehas nung nakuha kanina. That's the end of our tutorial. Before I end this video, I would like to say that you never know what you can do until you try. So, hindi mo alam kung anong magagawa mo unless nag-try ka. So, keep on trying. Thank you so much. Keep safe and have a great day.